Today's lesson is on adding integers. We start with vocabulary. The additive identity, this is the sum of a number in the additive identity, which is 0. It is the number. For example, 5 plus 0 equals 5. A plus 0, where A is any number, equals A. Think of it. When you add 0 to a number, that number keeps its identity. Therefore, we say the additive identity is in fact just 0. The additive inverse. This is the sum of a number and its additive inverse equals 0. So, think about from yesterday's lesson, what do we call numbers whose sum is 0? Those are opposites. So, for example, 5 plus negative 5 equals 0. In general, A plus negative A equals 0. This comes in very handy as we go through addition. So let's start here. 2 plus 1. How we all know equals 3. Negative 2 plus negative 1 equals negative 3. 2 plus negative 1, that equals 1. And negative 2 plus 1 equals negative 1. So we have a couple rules here when it comes to addition. So bear with me as I write these up. Same sign addition. So 2 plus 1 and negative 2 plus negative 1. Those are same sign addition problems. 2 positives, 2 negatives. First thing we do, we add the absolute values of those numbers. That term, absolute value, from yesterday's lesson. And then what we do, we apply the shared sign to the final answer. So 2 plus 1. The absolute values are just 2 plus 1 equals 3. They're both positive. The answer stays as positive 3. Over here, negative 2 plus negative 1. The absolute values are 2 and 1. Add together to get 3. We have that shared negative sign, which applies to the final answer. Now, different sign addition. Very similar in the rules to same sign, with one major change in the first step. So different sign, we're talking, we have positive 2, negative 1, negative 2, positive 1. Different signs. So the first step, we are actually going to subtract the absolute values. I'll abbreviate just to save a little time here. Feel free to do the same. And then we apply the sign of the number with the greater, absolute value. So for example, 2 plus negative 1, subtract absolute values. Okay, we have 2 minus 1 gives us 1. The absolute value of 2 is bigger than the absolute value of negative 1. So the final answer stays positive. The next one, we again do subtract the absolute values. 2 minus 1 gives us 1. However, the absolute value of negative 2 is larger than the absolute value of 1. Therefore, the negative sign gets applied to the final answer. So, on your own, go ahead and fill in this chart. You can pause the video as I fill it in and explain myself. 100 plus 50, both positive, add the absolute values, get positive 150. Negative 100 plus negative 50, same signs. Add the absolute values, get 150. The shared sign is negative, negative 150. Negative 100 plus 50. Subtract the absolute values. 100 minus 50 is 50. And negative 100 has a bigger absolute value than positive 50. So the answer is negative. 100 plus negative 50. Well, again, subtract absolute values to give us 50. The absolute value of 100 is larger than the absolute value of negative 50. So final answer stays positive. You guys aren't here to do this with me, but a little game here. We just take answers and put them into the correct vortex. I'll do this. You guys can play along from home. Negative 2 plus negative 3. Both negatives. Share sign is negative. Negative 91 plus positive 73. Negative 91. Bigger absolute value. It's negative. 9 plus negative 10. Bigger absolute value is negative. Goes there. Same as this one. Negative 32. Large absolute value. And 10. And here as well. Negative 14. Absolute value of negative 14, more than 12. 34 plus negative 38. Negative. 8 plus negative 9. Negative. 21 plus negative 29. Negative. These are not very well mixed up. 6 plus negative 5. 6. Bigger absolute value than negative 5. Positive. Same thing here. 72. Bigger absolute value. 10. Bigger absolute value. 27. Bigger absolute value. 21. Bigger absolute value. 38. Bigger. 8. Bigger absolute value than negative 7. 29. Large absolute value. That concludes your lesson on adding integers.